everybody. Welcome back to Challenge Call with Max and Avery. I'm your host, Max.
And I am Avery. How are you guys?
All right, so we decided to come at you with a little bit of an impromptu episode today. Avery is still in Oklahoma City right now. I just got back from Chicago, so we'll give you guys the sports updates, but we're just gonna talk a little bit about our vacations as well. Avery, how was your vacation? How did that all go?
Oh man, it's winding down. I need a vacation from a vacation. Um, that's a real thing. I feel like people don't really realize. But yeah, it's been good. We drove down. So San Antonio is about 14 hours away from Omaha. So we left on Tuesday night at like 10:30, and I drove through the night on like 2 hours of sleep, like a 2 hour nap. And so we rolled into Dallas about like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. Dallas is cool. It's just crazy, hectic. The traffic is insane there. There's like on ramps that go like up the like highway. It's super weird. It's super weird. But yeah, it was cool. And then we ended up stopping at Waco. We saw the University of Baylor, so that was cool to see McLean Stadium. And then I drove by AT&T Stadium in Dallas too, so I saw the home of the Cowboys, which is kind of cool. And then we got down to San Antonio. I saw the Alamo Dome where UTSA plays, the Roadrunners. Bought a shirt. Checked out the Riverwalk. It was cool. Yeah. Other than that, I mean, we did a lot. We did a lot. So now we're in Oklahoma City, the home of the Thunder. So like now we get to see another. I'm gonna drive by that stadium, of course, and see what that looks like. I mean, it's just a dome. It's just like a basketball stadium, so it won't look much different. But yeah, OKC's right here, and then Oklahoma University in Oklahoma is about 10 miles south. So maybe we'll swing by the U of O and see Boomer Sooner and see how it goes. But we'll see.
Now, needing a vacation from a vacation, I think, is definitely underrated. I'm a really big, in my free time, I like to be at home kind of guy. Like, a vacation is great and all. I don't mind, like, going and seeing stuff, taking a trip, whatever. But if I only have, like, a few days off, like, I know I've talked about this with my girlfriend or something, like, oh, you have a 3-day weekend, like, we should go somewhere. No, I should sit my ass at home and relax. Like, I got 3 days. I want to spend it decompressing. I want to chill for once.
Dude, I feel that too, man, because like the way I look at it now, like I didn't realize my summer semester started on today, the 22nd. I did not realize. I thought I had till May 30th. So when we planned this, I was like, okay, a week of vacation, that's fine, and then I got a week to relax. No.
Yep. See, no. And that's how I am too. Because
yeah.
my internship starts last week of May, like May 29th or whatever. So I've got the rest of this whole week to just, I'm kind of here. I'll float back and forth between work a little bit, go check in, do what I need to do, but just I can relax right now. So that's good for me. But I was in Chicago all last week. I did a Soldier Field tour, actually. So we'll go ahead and get into this podcast today with bare necessities. Since I saw Soldier Field, it fits, it works. I'm going with it. One big mistake on my part. When I was packing, I did not bring any of my Bears jerseys or even like my Bears shirt. I had a gray t-shirt on. I was kind of like, no, I don't have any Bear gear to wear here at Soldier Field. It made me really sad, like actually really sad. But the tour was awesome. We learned quite a bit about Soldier Field and everything, how it's like one of the oldest stadiums. And they actually have a ring on the ground. There's like a rubber ring at the top on the ground that shows you the line. Everything outside of that ring is from the old original stadium. Like it's all still like, yeah, it's all still from the whatever year it was built. I forget, but that's all the old stadium, and everything inside of that ring is like the new renovated in 2008 stadium. So that was super cool to see. They originally wanted it they wanted to have like a, what do they call it? The Washington Memorial and the Lincoln Memorial, like replicas there almost. Their plan was to have the Lincoln Memorial with the Washington Memorial coming out of the top of it. And you can actually see where they like started that. They have some columns and stuff on the outside that kind of resemble the Lincoln Memorial. I know I have a picture of it, which I haven't posted yet. I will post my pictures on Instagram probably after recording this, but so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, it's weird how they originally built it almost more as just like a meeting place for Chicago, or as like a, what do you call it?
Events.
Amphitheater for
Yeah.
Chicago, not
Okay.
specifically the Bears to play in and everything. But yeah, just learning all the history about it was super cool, and just seeing we got to go in the guest locker rooms because we're not allowed in the Bears locker rooms. Our tour guide said he had a key, or his key accessed every single door, every single space in the building except for one, and that is the Bears locker room. People aren't allowed to go in there ever, but we got to see the guest locker room. We got to go down on the field actually, and like I touched the field and stuff. All grass field, heated. It's got tubing underneath to keep it warm and thawed in the winter. But the one slightly disappointing thing was it was currently set up for the Chicago Fire soccer team, so didn't get to see the nice logo or the end zones or anything like that. So it was a soccer pitch at the time, but hey, I can use my imagination.
Right. Yeah. Hey, it's fine. That's so cool, man. Like I've been to Soldier Field. I've never like been on Soldier Field. So that is really cool to kind of like see that atmosphere. Um, dang, I wish I would have went to Chicago. Um, but yeah, no, I hope I get there before the Bears move out of Chicago at some point. It sounds like you had a really good time. What else did you do in Chicago besides that?
Yeah, so after we did the Soldier Field tour, that was actually the second day we got there. The first day, we didn't do a whole ton. We got there just kind of around dinner time, just got some food, stayed in our Airbnb and chilled. But after Soldier Field, we actually took a boat ride from, I forget where exactly it's at, the park, Grant Park or whatever, up to Navy Pier. We did some shopping around Navy Pier, got lunch there, and then we went to the Cloud Bar in the old John Hancock building. It's actually a bar up on the 94th floor. So it's one of the tallest buildings in Chicago. And for a fee, you get to go up to the 94th floor, and you can like grab a drink, sit there. It's just like a bar. You just hang out and stuff, but the view from up there is insane. You're like above downtown Chicago. It's like 360. You can walk around the whole floor, so you can see like looking out every point of Lake Michigan, or just like looking down Michigan Ave, or looking in toward the west and stuff. But it's super cool just to see all the building. The Chicago skyline is really pretty to look at. Like everywhere we went, that was just kind of like the focus point of all the pictures and stuff. It's like, the Chicago skyline. Like there's the skyline. There's the skyline. Just super cool, neat to see. And yeah, outside of that, just ate some different places, walked around downtown, walked around Millennium Park, just saw the sights.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, it sounds like a good vacation. I know. I got one question: how expensive was the alcohol at the Cloud Bar? Because I swear, like every place I got a beer, it was like $7.50 on this trip. I'm like, it's like $2 at my
That,
hometown
that
bar.
sounds about right.
Yeah, yeah, it's like $2.
Yeah, it was seven. I think it was $7 or $8 for a beer, depending on what beer you were getting, and it was like 14 if for a
Yeah,
cocktail.
yeah, and you're like, oh my god, like I can't drink a lot here. But yeah, no, it's a
Yeah, I had one beer.
yep. I don't blame you. I don't blame you one bit. Just one. It's what I usually do is I just buy like a 12 pack for my hotel room, have like one before we go somewhere, and be like, okay, I'll get one there, but that's it. But yeah, we did a tour. That's cool that you did a tour on Lake Michigan. We did a tour on the Riverwalk too, and that was really cool.
We looked at doing that,
Oh yeah,
but our budget was starting to get like it was $50 a person,
Yeah.
and we were kind of like, okay, that's a bit steep. But for anybody that's looking to do a vacation to Chicago, I wish we would have known this before, but you can actually get I don't know what they're on. My girlfriend's the one who found them, but you can get a ticket or some sort of pass that's $132, and it gives you access to all of the like 5 different attractions. So there's like the Natural History Museum, um I the river tour, something else that we did. I think maybe the Cloud Bar that we went to, but it has like 5 different of those like big attraction type things. It's $132. So like if you're doing even just a weekend in Chicago and you're going to go do 3 or 4 of those different things, just get that one pass and like do all of them, because it'd be a lot cheaper than paying for each one individually.
For sure, yeah. And that makes sense. Yeah, I know we spent quite a lot of money on this trip. So I'm ready to stop swiping my credit card. But anyways, yeah.
Right?
Vacations, they're fun, but
They are. They are fun, but I also, like you said, enjoy my time at home to lounge around and watch some sports. We'll talk about some actual current football happening with the XFL. They actually have their championship going on, or just finished their championship. Avery, you want to talk about that?
yeah, so the Arlington Renegades ended up winning the XFL championship game against the Washington, D.C. Defenders. The crazy thing about this is the Renegades were 4-6 going into the playoffs. And kind of like the Miami Heat, they are like that Cinderella team that took the league by storm, and they won it all 35-26.
And that's just, I'm sorry, but 4-6 in the regular season. Does that not sound like just the shortest season you've ever heard? I mean, I know we're in the middle of baseball right now where there's like 140 games, and the NBA playoffs where all the teams are freaking 70-30 or some shit right now. Even the NFL, though, has, like it's a 17
17.
game. And by the time of the Super Bowl, like it's up over 20, 10 games.
No kidding. Yeah, 10 games. I mean, and that's just the regular season. They had to win 4. So they played 14 altogether, but still, that's still shorter than the NFL regular season. Uh,
Yeah.
but it's just crazy that a losing record, you lost 6 games this year. You won 4, and you went and you won the whole damn thing. That's the inconsistency with the XFL right now still. Like, it's like, who's actually good, who's not. It's so new that you really don't know. And even a regular season 9-1 record the DC Defenders had doesn't even show that they were the best team in the league, even though they had the best record. They lost to a 4-6 team.
Yeah.
It's
And
kind of
that's just,
crazy.
it might be the opposite story a little bit of how we talk about baseball in the NBA. There's too many games that guys don't have to care. There's so few teams in the XFL and so few games that it might just be difficult to, like you slip up once and it's like, well, there you go. You're done fucked.
Yep. Yeah, and that's the insane part. But yeah, mad respect to Luis Perez. He won the XFL MVP. He was quarterback for the Arlington Renegades. He went 26 for 36, 288 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Um, and then, yeah, Jordan Ta'amu threw 3 picks for the DC Defenders. It's hard to win a game when your quarterback throws 3 picks in a game. But yeah, a lot of these guys are getting shots in the NFL now, XFL players. I know Hakeem Butler. I don't know if you remember Hakeem Butler from Iowa State a couple years back,
Yep.
before Alan Lazard and everybody like that. Well, Hakeem Butler balled out. He was the leading receiver for the XFL. He just signed a contract with the Pittsburgh Steelers to be a wide receiver for the Steelers. And then Ben DiNucci had a great XFL season this year, and he just signed a contract with the Denver Broncos.
Oh, God.
So yeah, he is a Denver Bronco now. And so
If
yeah,
I
you
didn't If I didn't already question the things that the Broncos were doing, I am now.
Right, yeah. So you're seeing some big name players finally get a shot in the NFL again, and that's what this is for. That is the developmental league. This isn't to rival the NFL at all. This is the minor league system, and players are getting shots, which is good to see.
Yeah, and speaking to XFL is done now and everything. We haven't mentioned the USFL whatsoever either. um, so I figured I'd mention it right now. The USFL is about to start week 7 coming up this next weekend. Looks like they also have a 10 weeks regular season, and we'll get into some playoff stuff after that. I don't know any of the teams or anything. I mean, I'm scrolling past them right now, but I just figured I'd shout them out because once again, they're that same kind of deal. Like they're not rivaling the NFL or anything. They're just there as a separate thing. I don't know all the rule differences between them and the XFL or them and the NFL. Maybe we will bring you an episode with those rule differences, kind of like we did XFL the one week. But as of right now, I don't know the rule differences, and I have not watched any USFL, so that's all the more I will say about it.
For sure. I just want to mention one thing about both of the leagues real quick is if they just combined both of these leagues and put the funding together for both of these leagues, separate it like an AFC, NFC, still have, your 8 teams from the XFL and your 8 teams from the USFL, and then you played a championship game. Boom. You play two teams. That's 16 teams right there.
Like I was saying, there's just not enough teams to do much more than kind of a 10 season thing. So if they would just combine them and actually get a decent amount of teams, they could have more of a longer kind of normal season. I think everyone would enjoy that. I think that'd be a great way to go. And yeah, that's all I have to say about it. Getting further into this podcast, we will get into Cubs Corner. Avery, you want to talk about the Cubs?
Yep. So the Cubs, they are 20-26. We're fourth in the Central now, so we dropped down from the third to the fourth. Man, we're kind of starting to fall behind here now. We were like middle of the pack. We're only 6 games from 500, which is okay for now. But we've also only played 46 games. Like we still got 122 to go. So I'm not too worried about that or too concerned about that. Guest star Liam is going to make an appearance for a second. But yeah, so the Cubs, we're still there. We're still right in the middle of the pack. So
yeah, it's disappointing to see him fall a little further out. The more games you lose once you hit that kind of below 500 point is really disheartening to me. I know there's so much baseball left. Like they have such a long time to actually bring this back and everything. But I know like watching the Bears this past season, every game that they lose, bringing them further from 500 is just like a little more and a little more painful to watch happen. Um, Also, I don't know what just popped in my head, but speaking of the Cubs and everything, one of the things we learned in that tour is like how the Bears became the Bears because they originally were the Chicago Staleys, named after
yeah,
the owner Staley, and they actually played at the Cubs stadium. They played at Wrigley Field. That's where they kind of held their games and stuff. So football players are seen as like the bigger guys compared to baseball players and whatnot. So what's a baby bear? It's a cub. So the Cubs were the Cubs, and the Bears actually ended up becoming the big Cubs, i.e., the Bears.
yeah. So I actually knew that. Yeah, that. So the Bears, they were in Decatur actually originally, and they moved to Chicago in 1919 and became. So they were the Decatur Staleys after Staley, John E. Staley.
Yeah, that sounds
He
right.
was the owner, and he owned a meat packing plant, which was also like Staley Productions. And so they were the Decatur Staleys, moved to Chicago in 1919, became the Chicago Staleys, and then changed the name in 1921 to the Chicago Bears because they did play at Wrigley Field, which is so cool. So cool. I wish you would have went to Wrigley Field just to like drive by it or something when you were up there.
If
But yeah,
they were playing at home, we would have gone to a game, but unfortunately they
for sure.
were away, so we didn't.
Oh well. That's how I feel. I was gonna actually catch a Texas Rangers game when we were in Dallas, and then because it's in Arlington, and they were away, and I was like, well, it just doesn't work out. So,
Yeah,
but
but,
yeah, it's really cool.
yeah, a lot of baseball
They
left
have
to
really
go.
cool.
Hopefully the Cubs can bring it back at least a little bit, but time will tell. Moving on from that, we'll get into what the puck. Stanley Cup Playoffs still going on. They are in their conference finals now. So it is the Florida Panthers and the South Carolina Hurricanes, which is, does that not just sound backward as hell? Like that was difficult for me to say just then.
Yeah. So yeah, the Florida Panthers and the Carolina See, oh my God. Florida Panthers and the Carolina Hurricane, because the reason it sounds backwards is because we're used to the Carolina Panthers,
Yeah.
right? In the NFL, and the Miami
Yeah.
Hurricanes. And so and you just think, okay, Florida. But it's kind of weird to like pay attention to.
Definitely. But the Florida Panthers are up 2-0 in the series. They will play again today. Yeah, that's about all I have to say about that. Then we have the Dallas Stars versus the Vegas Golden Knights. Vegas Golden Knights are up 2-0 in their series as well. They'll play again tomorrow. And once again, that's all I really have to say about that. I watched one hockey game this year. It was the Avalanche and the Kraken's game 7, and that is the only one I watched. So
I just find it fascinating that the Vegas Golden Knights are like this good this soon. They were an expansion team in 2018, 2019. And I think they've already won or went to a championship too. So, and hockey, it just goes to show you, because usually you think of like an expansion team in the NFL or MLB. It takes years to kind of like build that tradition, build that team, to be able to contend in the playoffs. Well, here are the Vegas Golden Knights rocking it right now.
definitely, and that's awesome. Just to go from 0 to 100 like that, just pedal to the metal, like that's awesome to see. That is super cool. One thing that disheartens me a little bit, I'll say right now, about the Vegas Golden Knights being up 2-0 on the Dallas Stars is if we track back, the Dallas Stars beat the Seattle Kraken. The Seattle Kraken beat the Colorado Avalanche. So it's kind of like we talked about with the NBA and how the Heat beat the Bucks, but like the Heat are also, spoiler alert, up 3-0 in the series with the Celtics. It's like, don't you want the Heat to win so you could? The Avalanche are having the exact opposite case right now. Every team that like beats their beat team like is getting beat further on in the round. So they're getting pretty far removed from being able to say anything. But I've also learned that makes a lot of sense. They were missing like their team captain for most of the season and everything, so they did not have a great season. They had injuries and were not to full strength. So I will rest somewhat sound knowing that.
For sure. And I feel like as sports fans, we always kind of go with that. Like, oh, injuries. That's the reason we didn't make it too far. There's always an excuse, I feel like, unless you're a Bears fan, and then it's like, we just sucked. I don't know what to tell you. We're in rebuild mode.
It's more than just saying injuries though, because like I said, their team captain had like a season long like injury. Like he was out most of the season. So like that's a little different in being like, oh, we missed a couple games, or like some people like had some strained hamstrings. Is that like, nah, this man was like out and missing, and that's one of their leaders. Like, so
Yeah,
I feel like that
that's
has
true.
a bigger impact than most. But moving on from hockey, we'll get into Beyond the Arc with our NBA playoff update. As I mentioned already, we did have the Heat versus the Celtics. The Miami Heat are up 3-0. They will play again tomorrow. Meanwhile, the Lakers versus the Nuggets. The Nuggets are also up 3-0, and they will play again today. So both of these teams could arguably win it in four, which is insane for the conference finals round. Like, shouldn't the close games be happening later in the bracket, not earlier?
I agree. One thing that just amazes me that the eighth seed Miami Heat are up 3-0 on the Boston
Yeah.
Celtics. Like this to me is
They're a
insane.
playing team.
Like they're a play-in team and they haven't even had a close series yet. They've won every series in 5 games. And this one they might win in 4. That's insane to me. And I hate that they beat the Bucks, but if Jimmy Butler can lead them to the championship and then win the championship, he goes down as one of the best NBA players of all time. And like he's known as really, really good and he's a perennial all-star, but he's never been on that legacy level as like LeBron James or, like other players like that. This cements him into that discussion.
Which this is a big moment for all these teams because I've seen this graphic a few different times now. This is LeBron's chance to get a 7th ring. Who cares? This is Jokic's chance to get his first ring. This is Jimmy Butler's chance to get his first ring. This is Jason Tatum's chance to get his first ring. So like all of these teams are, have a player that they're like really fighting for something outside of questionably the Lakers with LeBron, like, oh, winning his 7th, like, do we want to see it? Sure. But no, everybody else is, looking for that first ring, including Jimmy Butler. So this is going to be a big storyline, especially with the way it looks right now. It looks like it's going to come out Nuggets versus the Heat. I would prefer that. I mean, for the Heat and the Celtics, I don't really care, but I'd prefer the Nuggets come out over the Lakers. And unfortunately, I don't want the Heat to win everything overall. Sorry, but if the Nuggets do come out against the Lakers, I would much prefer the Nuggets to ultimately take the title.
For sure, yeah. All right. I would rather have the Heat. No offense to the Nuggets, but I don't have that connection. But I need to be beaten by the champions. I need to be beaten by the champions, especially going out in the first round. Yeah, I need this Cinderella story to keep going. Because have you seen the rumors of Giannis going to Golden State Warriors?
No, I have not.
Oh my gosh, there is a lot of rumors circulating right now that Giannis might be going to the Golden State Warriors because his contract's up this offseason, and I will be PO'd if he goes to the Golden State Warriors. Because then
I'd be PO'd too.
Done. Yeah. And then Golden State would just be, oh yeah, because you're a Kings fan. Yeah. That would off. That was Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Giannis. You might as well crown them the champs right now. But yeah, and so like just to see, I need the Miami Heat to I need them to win this. I mean, and I don't see the Celtics coming back. They have not played well at all. And Jimmy Butler scored 56 points the other night, which is insane to me. He's just playing on a whole new level. And it's kind of fun to see as much as he beat us and like I was so disheartened. It's fun to see a seed go this far.
It's hard to win 4 games in a row. And I'm not saying that from the perspective of the Nuggets and the Heat right now. I'm saying that for the perspective of the Lakers and the Celtics. Because if they did want to move on from this round, or if they did want to win the East and or the West, they need to win 4 in a row. Like once a team gets down 3, I feel like they talked about the numbers on this earlier in round 1 and everything, but what are the odds of going down 3-0 or 0-3 and then winning 4 straight to actually win that series. It doesn't happen a lot. I doubt it's going to happen with either of these teams now. If you ask me, the Lakers and the Celtics should just, you know, play that one last game, scrimmage style, give up the loss, and just move on.
Yeah, well, and the team that I could see it actually happening, I don't even see the Celtics. Like, I think the Heat are just that sound of a team right now and playing hot. Uh, I see the Lakers coming back on the Nuggets if it did happen, but I just LeBron is like this isn't his year. His time has passed. He's just kind of playing until you can play with Bronny. That's it. Like that's where we're at now. And you're right. Like I would play this. I would want to get steal one. That's kind of how I would feel even if I'm down 3-0. I'm playing every game. So like I would go out and steal this next game, but I guarantee both teams win in 5. Like I guarantee both Nuggets and the Heat will win in 5.
I would be the same way. As a coach, I'd be like, hey, like it's possible, but like just go out, play hard with that. Like I only say that because supporting the Nuggets, I'm kind of like, hey, Lakers, just fuck off for a game and give us some time to just chill and rest up and like get our best rest before the Heat ultimately. So
Right. Well, I do have one thing to say. Like you are a brand new basketball fan, and so like you said, you're a Kings fan, but if the Nuggets go to the championship and win the championship, are you gonna stick with the Kings, or are you gonna kind of make a Nuggets jump there?
I mean, I'm still gonna stick with the kid. It's a 1-2 situation, Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna just start ignoring the Kings because the Nuggets have a ring now or some shit. I'm not a fucking bandwagon. Um, but like the Kings got Keegan Murray. It's kind of like I ultimately said. Kings got Keegan Murray right now. If Keegan Murray left, um, I do still kind of like the Kings, but at the same time, if Keegan Murray went somewhere else, especially let's say if Keegan Murray jumped over to the Nuggets, then the Nuggets no doubt become like number one in my head just immediately.
For sure. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, what if he went and played with LeBron?
Oh, that'd be tough. That'd, that'd be a tough one to do. I
Would you
feel
become a Laker fan?
I feel like I would still watch the Kings and or the Nuggets more often than I truly tuned into the Lakers.
For sure. I understand that with yeah. I would be heartbroken. You know what? I would just become a Golden State fan if Giannis left to go to Golden
You're
State. No,
just
I'm
gonna
kidding.
just gonna make the jump.
Just make the jump. Oh, because the Bucks, so they would fall apart, man. He's the glue that holds us all together. I can't see him to go to Golden State.
That's fair. Well, I think that's all we have for today. We just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update, talk about our vacation. Like we said, this was a very last minute, just like, hey, should we post something? Yeah, probably. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We'll be back in normal next week. And what should we? We'll probably do the Bears draft recap, right?
Yep, yep. We still haven't done that, so that will be our next thing to come out. And then after that, guys, it will pretty much be just kind of routine. We'll get more into baseball. We'll probably be in the championship games for both hockey and basketball. And then we're in a kind of a just baseball only slump for about a month there until off-season OTA start for the NFL. So
We'll pull in some other random ideas that we've had. I know there's a lot of things in sports that we've definitely discussed in the past. Just a lot of kind of broad idea change, switch up type things happening. So we'll keep you guys a little bit posted with something, especially football related. Like every episode will probably touch on football to some degree or another. So
maybe a college football relegation episode in the near future coming up. But hey, other than that, I don't know what else to say. So I guess I got 2 words, guys. Bear down.